everyone, and welcome to Farewell Clayfax 8, focusing on Episode 8, Kindred Spirits. I feel like this is the strongest out of all of the episodes, and that is probably because I had 7 episodes before this to actually cultivate skills to make the final episode the best that it could be. But I feel like this wraps up the main storyline of Atlas learning about his past really well. However, with all of the previous episodes, the one thing that I didn't take from them is to not green screen with green engines. These travel shots here were done by placing the engines in front of a green screen, and given that Atlas, Sherlock and Ember are all green, it didn't have the best effect, and I'm sure there is an easier and better way of making this sort of shot work. However, when it came to the poster, I filmed it against a red piece of paper, so that it would be easier to crop out the background. This program that Mr. Traverse is holding was printed out and positioned to make it look as if it was being held. The program itself has pictures of other guests at the gala. I feel like the antagonism from Hardgraves came out really well in this story. Considering he is just a person against these giant machines, he actually makes himself a formidable threat. I do quite like this little moment with Ramona trying to intimidate Hardgraves.
What a basket case.
I quite like this little visual joke of Hardgraves parking his truck over the line. The workshop set was one of the last big sets to be built for filming. Compared to the first episode, it is a lot larger and a lot more in-depth, with a few more little facilities added on.
Trying to keep your core temperature in line to stop the blackouts.
I established the core temperature idea back in the Christmas special when Atlas remembers when he got trapped during a blizzard. I felt like it was important to place it somewhere before the release of episode 8 so that it would actually make sense. I wanted to do as many of these little things as I could do to create a complete picture for the episode.
Out of all the trains we pull, I always preferred passenger expresses, pulling them through the limitless countryside. Well, it made me feel alive.
Ember's back. You can almost set your watch by her.
Without distinction, we saw ourselves as our railway's guardians.
I feel like this sequence is the best out of all of Cross Lines. It only lasts around 30 seconds, but I am really proud of it. During the filming of this scene, I lost the Hogwarts Express headboard. It's lost forever now.
I'm the unlucky chump who has to play stationary boiler here.
Ferris was a character that came in quite late. I remember rewriting everything he said twice just to make sure that it worked with the rest of the story, and that he acted as foreshadowing of the fate of both Atlas and Ember. Timing these two trains moving out at the same time was actually quite tricky, but I knew it would make a good visual of Ember getting in the way of the controller's view of the future.
Don't worry, Valentine. He's like this all the time.
Oh well, it's all in good fun.
Fun.
This conversation between the three men was constructed entirely out of unrelated ad-libs. These interior shots of Hargraves being at the controls was actually a fun challenge to face. I had to make it have a sense of depth as well as a sense of interior.
I can see why you were the vice director of the line, my boy. Very quick to mention.
Right.
I like having Charles as a man of action. I'd want to do something with that in future stories. I also think having a breakdown special be the vehicle of pursuit is a really pathetic but funny chase vehicle to have.
Hop on board, lads. We've got a train to catch.
Hi-ho, go Jack! Away!
This was the hardest sequence to work out, as I didn't want both parties to be completely innocent in the falling out. In many of the drafts, Atlas came across as too weak or too passive. I feel like this sequence is the best combination, by having the fallout just be completely natural and having both parties be in the wrong.
I don't want to end up in the scrapyard like everyone else who trusted you.
I had to make new faces for Atlas specifically so he could look this angry and annoyed. A lot of scenes were filmed late into the editing just to make the whole story work even better. Scenes like the photo flashback, Ember being alone in the siding with her thoughts, and Atlas at the top station helped make the story wider and make it clear how the characters were feeling at each point in time. The Tatlow on the Green Rail disaster was one of the first sequences I wrote out for the story. I did a lot of research into rail disasters to understand how they happened, what went wrong and other factors. I think this was also one of the few sequences of the entire series I storyboarded out, at least have an idea of where everything was at what point.
If my demands are not met, this diesel will be sent full speed to Dragon Wharf Terminus. I will be waiting for your response. Hargrave's out. That's all very heroic, but I never intended to take you alive.
I feel this says a lot about Hargrave's character. This was his last-ditch attempt to get rid of Ember as revenge for her causing the accident in which he lost his family, and he didn't care if he was to get involved in a crash either. Had he succeeded, there would have been a lot of repercussions for the whole of the Waterdam.
Atlas, I thought
Ember! Only together can we stop the train!
All right, we can do this. Together.
What?
And in the end, Atlas and Ember worked together to save the day, making up for when they broke apart and worked against each other.
Woo! Go team!
I purchased them.
I felt that the ending had to end on a huge sunset moment with all of the characters. This was also the last scene that I filmed, making the whole story and filming process feel very cyclical. I also knew I wanted some interesting credits for the finale, and what better way than the map of the Waterdam. Overall, I feel like I put everything I had into Kindred Spirits. I might return to the world of Crosslines one day, but I'm happy with how I completed something on this scale. And if I never return to it, then this is the best ending I could have given it. And I want to thank everyone again, the people who took part, who supported it, and everyone, because it wouldn't have been possible otherwise. Thank you.